You may feel like you're standing on the edge of yourself right now, like the very ground beneath your feet is trembling. And even though you try to smile and act strong in front of others, inside your soul you are exhausted, weary, questioning if you can carry the weight one more day. But here is the undeniable truth. You are not standing in your own strength anymore. You are standing in the strength of the one who promised that when you pass through the waters, he will be with you. And when you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. Isaiah 43 verse 2. In this very moment, God is preparing to strengthen you in ways you cannot even comprehend, because he sees the hidden battles, the secret fears, the shocking doubts that you dare not voice aloud. And yet he has already made provision for your weakness by offering his endless strength. So while you feel drained, heaven is declaring that your power is being renewed. While you feel forgotten, the Spirit whispers that you're engraved in the palm of his hand. Isaiah 49 verse 16. While you feel like everything is against you, the truth is that all things are secretly working together for your good. Romans 8 verse 28. And the very trials that have left you trembling are the very instruments God is using to forge an unshakable strength within you. Because he does not waste pain. He does not overlook tears. He does not ignore prayers whispered in the dark when nobody else hears. And though your mind tells you that you cannot endure another storm, your spirit is being equipped to rise higher, because strength is not built in comfort, but in pressure. And God is allowing you to walk through the pressure not to destroy you, but to develop the muscle of faith that will carry you into the promises you have been praying for. And even when you secretly think you are too broken, too weak, too scarred to be used, he reminds you of Gideon, who hid in fear, but was called a mighty man of valor. He reminds you of Moses, who stuttered yet was chosen to speak to Pharaoh. He reminds you of David, who was overlooked yet anointed to be king. And he reminds you of Paul, who bore a thorn, yet carried unstoppable revelation. Because God never chooses the strongest vessels to display his power. He chooses the surrendered ones. And that is why your weakness right now is the perfect stage for his strength to shock you with glory. So let every thought of defeat be silenced by the word that says, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40 verse 31. And you may secretly think, but I've been waiting too long. Yet God says your waiting has not been wasted, because in the hidden seasons where nothing seemed to change, he was building unseen roots, preparing unseen breakthroughs, aligning unseen connections. And if he sustained Israel with manna in the wilderness, if he sustained Elijah with ravens in the drought, if he sustained Daniel in the lion's den, he will sustain you in your present struggle. And not just sustain, but strengthen. Not just hold you up, but push you forward. Because his spirit inside you is not weak. His spirit is resurrection power. The same power that raised Jesus from the grave. The same power that rolled the stone away. The same power that turned a sealed tomb into the birthplace of victory. And that same spirit is living in you, empowering you even when you don't feel it, equipping you even when you don't see it, interceding for you even when you can't find the words to pray, because God knows your frame. He knows you are dust. He knows you cannot carry the burden alone. And that is why he promised, "Come to me all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11 verse 28. And this rest is not the kind that makes you passive. It is the kind that restores your soul so you can rise again, fight again, believe again, hope again, because though you secretly think you are running out of time, The God who created time is not bound by your clock. And while the enemy tries to rush you into panic, God is slowing you into peace, reminding you that strength does not always look like striving. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Sometimes it looks like waiting in quiet confidence. Sometimes it looks like trusting when you do not understand. And this is the shocking truth. God strengthens you most in the moments when you feel least capable, because His strength is not borrowed. It is freely given. His strength is not temporary. It is eternal. His strength is not limited. It is infinite. And today that strength is being poured into you like living water filling a dry vessel, like breath filling weary lungs, like fire igniting a faint wick. And though you may have walked in weak, you will walk out strong. Though you may have started trembling, you will stand unshaken. Though you may have felt abandoned, you will realize you are always upheld, because the Lord is your strength and your shield, your ever-present help in trouble, your refuge and fortress, your mighty tower that no storm can topple. And He is saying to you even now, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41 verse 10. So lift your eyes from the battle and fix them on the one who has already won, because the strength you seek is not far away. It is already within you. It is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Colossians 1 verse 27. And today that glory is awakening. Today that power is rising. Today that hidden flame is burning bright, because God has decided that you will not collapse under the weight of this season, but emerge as a living testimony that His strength is greater than every trial you face. And the reason you must hold tightly to this truth right now is because the enemy has been whispering lies into your spirit, telling you that you're too tired, too weak, too far gone to keep pressing. But what the devil fears most is you discovering that your strength was never meant to come from yourself anyway. Because if it did, you would have collapsed long ago. Yet the shocking evidence that you're still breathing, still standing, still praying, still fighting is proof that God has been carrying you even when you thought you were walking on your own. And if He has carried you this far, He will not abandon you now. For He is not a man that He should lie, nor a son of man that He should change His mind. Numbers 23:19. And He has already declared that His plans for you are to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. So the very fact that you woke up today is evidence that your story is still being written, that His hand is still upon your life, that His breath is still inside your lungs, and He will strengthen you to finish the race that He Himself appointed for you, because He who calls you is faithful, and He will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 24. And while others may secretly wonder how you are still holding it together, you know the hidden truth. It has not been you. It has been God. And that is why the enemy is furious, because he threw storms at you that should have drowned you. He lit fires around you that should have consumed you. He surrounded you with darkness that should have swallowed you. But here you are, still standing, still believing, still clinging to the promises of God. And this is why today is not just another ordinary day. This is a divine reminder that strength is being transferred into your spirit right now. Strength that will enable you to endure the waiting season without giving up. Strength that will empower you to silence every demonic voice speaking defeat over your destiny. Strength that will allow you to walk into places where others thought you would never enter. Because when God strengthens you, it is not a temporary burst of motivation. It is a supernatural infusion that shifts your entire perspective, and suddenly what looked like a dead end begins to look like a doorway. What felt like a grave begins to feel like a womb. What seemed like a loss becomes the soil for greater gain. And you begin to understand why Paul said he could boast in his weakness, because his weakness was the very stage for God's strength to shine. So while you have secretly felt ashamed of your struggles, God is about to turn that shame into strength. While you have been secretly worried that your mistakes disqualified you, God is about to prove that your mistakes are being woven into a greater testimony. While you have been secretly wondering if your prayers even matter, God is about to show you that every whispered cry has been stored in heaven, and at the appointed time they are released, like rain over a dry land. Because his timing is perfect, his strength is unstoppable, his promises are unshakable. And when you realize this, you begin to walk differently, not in arrogance, but in holy confidence, knowing that greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. 1 John 4 verse 4. And this confidence is not about how much you can endure, but about how much he has already overcome. Because Jesus said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." John 16 verse 33. So if he has overcome the world, then his overcoming power is strengthening you to rise above the very things that try to bury you. And even though you may secretly feel the sting of loneliness, he is reminding you that he has never left you. Even when others walked away, even when doors slammed in your face, even when betrayal pierced your heart, he was still there, holding you when nobody else saw, protecting you from dangers you didn't even know about, interceding for you when you didn't even know what to pray. And this hidden covering is why you're still here, because his strength has been your shield, and his grace has been your sustenance. And now he is strengthening you not just to survive, but to advance. Not just to stand, but to conquer. Not just to endure, but to thrive. Because your destiny is too important for you to remain weak. Your calling is too great for you to stay defeated. Your anointing is too powerful for you to believe the lies of the enemy. So rise up in the secret knowledge that you were never meant to do this alone. That the Lord himself is your warrior. Exodus 15 verse 3. And he is fighting for you. He is covering you. He is empowering you. And no matter how dark it feels, light is breaking forth. Because the joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8 verse 10. And this joy is not dependent on circumstances. It is rooted in the unchanging truth that God is good. God is faithful. God is with you. And his strength is being made visible in your life today in ways that will shock not only your enemies, but even you. Because you will look back and realize that the moments you thought were going to crush you were the very moments God was secretly building the foundation for your greatest season of strength and victory. Even when the pressures around you feel relentless and the weight on your shoulders seems impossible to bear, God is quietly, invisibly, unshakably infusing strength into your spirit, because he has promised that those who wait upon him will not be weary, those who trust in him will not falter, and those who lean on him will never be abandoned. Isaiah 40 verse 31. And the hidden, shocking truth is that God does not just patch up your weakness temporarily. He transforms it. He fortifies it. He turns it into the very weapon that the enemy cannot withstand. So while you secretly think your struggles are setbacks, they are actually setups for your supernatural empowerment. While you fear that your brokenness disqualifies you, it is actually the stage upon which God displays his glory. And though you may have spent years feeling inadequate, unnoticed, or unworthy, Today is the day you realize that every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered in secret, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every hidden pain has been gathered by God and is now being converted into strength that will rise in you and through you. Because the same God who carried Noah through the flood, who delivered Daniel from the lion's den, who parted the Red Sea for the Israelites, who resurrected Lazarus after 4 days in the tomb, who defeated death on the cross, who ascended to heaven in glory, is the very God who is working in your life, who is strengthening you in ways that are invisible but unmistakable. And even if the world around you does not recognize it, even if your family cannot see it, even if your enemies mock it, your breakthrough is already in motion, because God's strength is unstoppable, it is irreversible, and it cannot be delayed by circumstances, by people, or by your own fears. And as you begin to grasp this truth, you will notice a subtle, shocking shift in your spirit. Hope begins to rise where despair once lingered. Courage begins to replace fear. Vision begins to illuminate the dark corners of your life. And an unshakable faith starts to emerge, because you are no longer relying on what you can do. You are relying on what God can do through you, and His power is perfected in your weakness. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. So you no longer need to hide your struggles. You no longer need to pretend you are stronger than you are. You no longer need to shrink in shame, because God's strength is designed to fill the void that your weakness creates. His grace is sufficient. His power is made perfect, and His presence is enough. And while the enemy has tried to convince you that your suffering is meaningless, that your pain is pointless, that your waiting is wasted, the reality is that every trial you have endured has been a hidden lesson in endurance, a secret preparation for the strength that is rising in you now, so that when you face the next challenge, you will not crumble, you will not retreat, you will not despair, because you are strengthened by the one who never tires, never fails, never sleeps, and never abandons His children. And even when you secretly feel like you are standing alone, God is right there, moving unseen forces on your behalf, arranging divine connections, orchestrating breakthroughs, opening doors, closing doors, and ensuring that every step you take is supported by His power, because the Lord is your refuge, your rock, your fortress, your mighty stronghold. Psalm 18 verse 2. And He is imbuing you with strength that exceeds natural human ability, a strength that is spiritual, emotional, and physical, because when God strengthens you, He strengthens every part of your being, not just your outward performance, but your inward character, your hidden resilience, your secret determination, your faith that persists even in silence. And this is why your current challenges are actually a prelude to a new season of boldness, of courage, of supernatural capacity, of unstoppable momentum, because God never gives strength just for survival. He gives strength for victory. And this victory will be evident not only in what you achieve, but in who you become. Because the refining fire that seemed unbearable is shaping you into a vessel capable of containing His glory. The storms that seemed overwhelming are teaching you the rhythm of divine power. The mountains that seemed impossible are forcing you to experience the reality that nothing is impossible with God. Luke 1 verse 37. And though you may secretly think that the enemy has the upper hand, every strategy, every attempt to discourage you, every plot to delay your destiny has already been anticipated, neutralized, and redirected by the one who holds time, space, and eternity in his hands, so that what was meant to harm you is being turned into the very instrument that propels you forward. What was intended to crush your spirit is becoming the very fuel for your rise. And what seemed like a failure is being transformed into testimony, because God specializes in using ordinary, broken, overlooked, and underestimated people to display extraordinary, unshakable strength. And today that is exactly what He is doing in your life, strengthening you in ways that are hidden but will soon become visible, strengthening you in ways that are quiet but will soon roar, strengthening you in ways that feel small but will soon shake the world around you. So do not underestimate the subtle, supernatural, and shocking ways in which God is building strength in your life even now. Because this strengthening is holistic. It is not just for your battles, but for your purpose. It is not just for your pain, but for your destiny. It is not just for the now, but for eternity. And the strength you receive today will prepare you for tomorrow, equip you for next week, and sustain you for the years ahead. Because God's power does not fade with circumstances. It does not weaken with time. It does not diminish when your understanding fails, and it does not rely on human ability. It relies on His Spirit, and His Spirit is alive in you right now, whispering courage to your soul, filling your heart with hope, igniting the fire of faith in your mind, and infusing your body with the endurance to keep moving forward. So even when every human indicator says stop, God is saying go. Even when every circumstance says give up, God is saying hold on. Even when every hidden fear says you cannot, God is saying you will, because His strength is already at work in you, preparing you for the victories, the breakthroughs, and the testimonies that will glorify His name. And even now the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead, Romans 8 verse 11, is quickening every part of you that feels weary, broken, or inadequate, so that your next step is powered by divine strength, your next decision guided by supernatural wisdom, your next moment infused with holy courage, your next prayer backed by heaven itself, and you will discover, with shocking clarity, that the strength you thought you lost, the hope you thought was gone, the power you thought was missing has never left you, because it was always in Christ, always in God, always ready, always sufficient, and today it is being released, strengthening you to rise, to fight, to overcome, and to shine, even in the midst of storms that seem insurmountable. Because God's strength is not dependent on circumstances. It is not dependent on human understanding. It is dependent on His perfect, unlimited, unstoppable, unshakable power. And as you begin to walk in this reality, you will realize that your past struggles were not wasted. Your hidden battles were not meaningless. Your prayers were not unheard. Your pain was not in vain. And your waiting was not forgotten, because God is doing what only He can do, secretly, supernaturally, and with shocking precision. He is strengthening you today, even now, as your heart trembles and your mind races with doubts. God is secretly working in ways you cannot see, ways that will shock your understanding and overwhelm every expectation of weakness. Because He specializes in taking the overlooked, the weary, the broken, and transforming them into vessels of unstoppable strength. And while you may secretly feel invisible, His eyes are fixed on you, noting every struggle, counting every tear, recording every whispered prayer, and preparing to unleash a supernatural fortitude that will leave the enemy confounded and your own heart astonished, because what you have endured has not been in vain, what you have suffered has not been wasted, and what you have prayed for in secret is being readied for manifestation. And though the world may look at your life and see hesitation, see weakness, see failure, God is orchestrating a divine reversal, a supernatural strengthening that will allow you to rise higher than you have ever imagined, to stand firmer than you thought possible, and to move forward with a confidence that is rooted not in your own ability, but in the inexhaustible, unshakable power of the Almighty. Because His Spirit inside you is not passive, it is active, it is alive, it is the very same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead. Romans 8 verse 11. And that Spirit is energizing your faith, rekindling your hope, fortifying your soul, and infusing your body with the resilience to keep moving forward even when every circumstance says stop, even when every human opinion says retreat, even when every hidden fear whispers you cannot, because His word is louder, His promises are sure, His power is unstoppable, and the moment you align your heart with Him, you begin to experience the shocking reality that weakness is the very stage for His strength to shine, that trials are the very forge for supernatural resilience, that waiting is the secret workshop for breakthroughs, and that your struggles are not obstacles but invitations to encounter God's power in its most intimate and transforming expression. Because God does not strengthen only in visible victories. He strengthens in hidden, unseen, quiet moments when your faith feels tested, your patience feels thin, and your courage feels faint. And it is in those secret moments that your character is built, your endurance is trained, your spiritual muscles are flexed, and your soul is refined for the glory and the purposes that lie ahead. So, while you secretly wonder if you will make it through this season, the truth is that God is already carrying you, equipping you, fortifying you, preparing you for victories that will not only surprise the world, but also solidify your faith. Because the one who promised that He will never leave you nor forsake you, Hebrews 13 verse 5, is the very one who is actively strengthening you at this very moment. And even when the path seems uncertain, even when the journey seems long, even when the enemy throws every conceivable obstacle in your way, you are being empowered to rise above, to overcome, to persevere, to endure, because your strength does not come from the absence of challenges, but from the presence of God within you. And His strength is sufficient. His grace is abundant. His power is limitless. And His Spirit is unceasing, unyielding, and relentless in building the resilience that you need to fulfill your purpose. And this is why your current trials are not punishments, but secret opportunities to access a strength that is greater than anything you could have imagined, a strength that will carry you through storms, shield you from attacks, sustain you through pressure, and elevate you above the limitations of your past. Because God's strengthening is not temporary. It is eternal. It is not conditional. It is unwavering. It is not dependent on circumstances. It is supernatural. And it is released in the precise moment when you align your heart with His word, when you choose to believe His promises, when you refuse to succumb to fear, and when you take the step of faith even when the outcome is hidden. Because in that step, His power flows through you, His glory radiates in you, and His strength becomes your reality. So do not despair over hidden struggles. Do not shrink back from unseen battles. Do not fear the unknown, because God is preparing a supernatural empowerment that will shock your enemies, inspire the weak, and strengthen your own spirit beyond anything you have previously experienced, because He is the Lord who strengthens you, the God who equips you, the Almighty who fortifies you, the Creator who empowers you, the Redeemer who lifts you, and the King who reigns in your heart. And even now, He is actively, secretly, and powerfully building you up, preparing you for the victories, breakthroughs, and testimonies that will manifest not because of your effort, but because of His strength working in you, so that when you look back, you will see that the hardships, the delays, the obstacles, and the secret battles were never in vain, and that the God who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. Philippians 1 verse 6. Because His strength is being released into you today at this very moment, and it is unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable, and nothing can prevent it from manifesting in your life in ways that will leave you, the enemy, and even the world amazed, because God specializes in turning weakness into power, trials into triumphs, suffering into testimony, and ordinary people into extraordinary vessels of His strength, glory, and purpose. So rise, awaken, and embrace the divine strengthening that is being poured into your spirit right now, because God will strengthen you today, and that strength is enough. It is sufficient, it is supernatural, and it is unstoppable. And now, as you feel the quiet stirring in your spirit, as you sense a subtle shift within, know that God is completing the work of strengthening you in ways that will become undeniably evident in your life, because He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. Philippians 1 verse 6. And though you may have secretly felt forgotten, overlooked, or unworthy, His power is not bound by human perception. It is not limited by circumstances. It is not slowed by time, and it is not diminished by what others see or do not see. And the hidden, shocking truth is that every weakness, every trial, every tear, every moment of fear has been a necessary component of the divine strengthening that is now rising in you, a strengthening that will allow you to stand unshaken in the midst of storms, to walk boldly in the face of opposition, to speak with authority when lies try to silence you, to act with courage when intimidation presses in, and to live with peace when chaos surrounds you. Because God's strength does not merely sustain, it empowers, it elevates, it transforms, it equips, and it releases in ways that are beyond human comprehension. And even when you feel your energy faltering, your mind wavering, or your courage shaking, His Spirit within you is unwavering, unrelenting, and indefatigable, filling you with a supernatural resilience that will carry you through every hidden battle, every unseen struggle, every secret difficulty, because the Lord is your strength and your shield, your ever-present help in trouble, your fortress and your stronghold. Psalm 18 verse 2. And He is actively infusing your soul, mind, and body with the power to rise above the limitations that once held you captive, to overcome the obstacles that seemed insurmountable, and to step into the destiny that has been prepared for you since before you were born. And even when you have felt invisible, ignored, or abandoned, He has been present, orchestrating divine interventions, aligning heavenly resources, opening doors that no one can close, and closing doors that no one can open, all in preparation for the moment when your strength, fortified by His power, will astonish not only the world, but also yourself, because what you have endured in secret what you have persevered through quietly, what you have prayed over in tears, what you have believed in faith, even when no one else could see, is now being transformed into a supernatural strength that cannot be measured, cannot be shaken, and cannot be denied. And as you begin to walk in this revelation, you will see that your past struggles were not mistakes, your setbacks were not failures, your fears were not disqualifications, and your waiting was not wasted, because God specializes in turning hidden pain into visible power, secret struggles into public victories, private prayers into divine provision, and ordinary people into extraordinary witnesses of His glory. And while you may have secretly doubted whether you could make it, whether you could endure, whether you could rise above, the truth is that His strength was already in you, already preparing you, already equipping you, and already pushing you forward into a life that is greater than you ever imagined. And the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead, Romans 8 verse 11, is alive in you, quickening every part of your being, fortifying your faith, igniting your courage, and infusing your mind with clarity, your heart with hope, and your body with supernatural resilience, so that no storm can overwhelm you, no opposition can stop you, no fear can dominate you, no doubt can paralyze you, and no trial can break you. Because the one who strengthens you is almighty, the one who sustains you is eternal, the one who fights for you is victorious, and the one who calls you is faithful. And as you embrace this truth, your spirit will rise with a holy confidence. Your soul will walk in unshakable peace. Your heart will overflow with joy that cannot be stolen. Your eyes will see the invisible provision. Your ears will hear the secret whispers of heaven. And your life will reflect the supernatural strength of God at work within you. And while the enemy may try to convince you otherwise, while the world may try to intimidate you, while circumstances may attempt to delay you, the power that God is releasing in your life today is unstoppable, undeniable, and irreversible. And as you step into this revelation, you will realize that everything you once thought was a weakness is now the source of your greatest strength. Every trial you once feared is now the pathway to triumph. Every tear you once shed is now the seed of glory. Every moment of hidden despair is now the catalyst for supernatural endurance. And every battle you fought alone is now the stage upon which God's power is fully revealed. Because the Lord has promised that He will strengthen you, uphold you, deliver you, protect you, guide you, and empower you beyond anything you could ever imagine. And as you stand in this truth, let every doubt be silenced. Let every fear be cast down. Let every hesitation be replaced with holy courage, because God has already done the work of strengthening you. He is already sustaining you, and He is already preparing you to walk in the fullness of the life, victory, and testimony that He has destined for you. So rise, lift your eyes, stand firm, and embrace the supernatural strengthening that is being poured into your spirit today, because God will strengthen you today, and His strength will never fail, will never waver, and will never be overcome. And it will carry you into a future filled with unshakable faith, unstoppable victory, undeniable purpose, and overwhelming glory. So receive it, walk in it, believe it, and let the God who strengthens you become the visible reality of power, peace, and triumph in your life, forever and ever.